In this video I'm going to show you how to make a custom intake pipe on a 2010 Volkswagen 2-litre turbo diesel engine. Here are the parts you're going to need. I just bought a piece of 90-degree bent steel tubing with 3-inch openings on either end, 3-inch silicone hose, pod filter to suit. You'll also need a couple of hose clamps to tie it all together and some paint if you want to spray paint the tube afterwards. You'll also need this brass barb to tap into the intake tube just so you can connect your vacuum line. Here's some of the tools you'll need: a tap, saw, drill, screwdrivers. Step 1, disconnect all of the screws that hold the intake box on. Disconnect the vacuum line and the mass airflow meter clamp. Take this clamp off so then you can remove the airbox. Once you've removed the airbox, take the 2 screws out that hold the airflow meter onto the airbox. Make sure to follow the air direction on the airflow meter. Put the silicone tube on the airflow meter. Make sure you put it back on the right way. Clamp it back up to the airflow meter. Now move on to the pod filter and intake pipe. Put the pod filter on the intake pipe very loosely. You might need to cut some of the intake pipe off to line it up properly. When you're happy with where it's lined up, mark out where you're going to put your brass barb where the vacuum line goes. In regards to what size brass barb to use, take a piece of the vacuum line off the vehicle and take it to your local parts store and find the correct barb that fits the vacuum line and then use that. This should ensure that you don't have any issues. Drill the intake pipe, and once you've done drilling the intake pipe, take the correct tap size and then tap the hole. Once you're done tapping the hole, make sure you clean off any excess debris and file it back, and then make sure the barb screws in nicely and is firm. With the barb screwed in, connect the vacuum line, the airflow meter, the clamps, and the pod filter. This is what it sounds like before and after. Just a couple of notes on what you should leave in. You should leave in this stock ram air intake setup. As you can see from the front, there's an opening for air to flow through this port and then up under the pod filter. The pod filter is pretty loose right now, so I'm going to make a pretty simple way to hold it down, just using the screws that came out of the air box and just a couple of zip ties. I'm going to make some holes in them. I think they're about 7 or 8 millimeter wide zip ties, so this is how you do it. Grab the zip ties, make a hole in either end of it. You're going to have to make a hole in one end first, obviously, to measure out where the second hole is going to go. But when you're done, this is pretty much what it's going to look like. You can add a second zip tie if you like around the intake pipe, but I didn't feel like I had to do that. Just a couple of things about the intake setup that I made. Firstly, it's obviously best to use aluminium piping as it dissipates heat better, but this is the only piping I had available to me at the time and I wanted to get it done ASAP. Secondly, don't expect any performance gains at anything like this. This is mainly just a sound thing, so you can hear the turbo spooling up and whatnot. And thirdly, this setup only cost me about $100 to make, and I feel like it's almost, if not as effective as these aftermarket brand ones, considering the fact that they're upwards of $500 to $1,000. I can't see any reason why this setup would be that different, aside from the fact that I used steel instead of aluminium piping for the intake. But really, if you're just putting this on a stock car with no tune, anything like that, there'll be no power increase. There won't be anything like this. It's all kind of just marketing gimmicks, I think. I've monitored my air temps and they're pretty much exactly the same as they were stock. So I'm pretty happy with the end result. Anyway, thanks for watching.